Hello, my name is Daniel Barr. I'm from RMIT University in Melbourne, Australia. And today it's my pleasure to speak to you about research integrity principles into new practices. Research creates and organises knowledge and results in change. All research appears to result in certain changes or impact. The changes, or research impact, appear somewhat unpredictable in their nature. And it's because of this we must be able to trust research. Research integrity allows us to have this trust, how it's been conducted or administered, and the knowledge that it's created. Research integrity can be defined as the coherent and consistent adherence to a set of principles that make research trustworthy. The principles of research integrity apply to all research, regardless of discipline or scope. And by their nature, they also inform the quality or excellence of research. Most importantly, the principles of research integrity allow us to identify research that we can trust, and also allows us to identify research that we should not trust. This results in a spectrum of research integrity, from trustworthy research to untrustworthy research. So our definition of research integrity is around sets of principles. What are these? Well, the principles of research integrity have been described now in many different codes and guidelines, and one of the first places this was described in was a document called the Singapore Statement on Research Integrity. The Singapore Statement was produced through the World Conferences on Research Integrity Initiative, and it appears to have been very influential in how other code makers and policy makers have approached describing research integrity using principles. How principles of research integrity are translated into practice by researchers, human beings, working in complex environment of traditions and expectations is not well understood, and it appears complex. However, the principles of research integrity are demonstrable. They can be demonstrated, and there are a number of new ways that they can be supported. Honesty appears to be a key principle of research integrity, trustworthiness in research. In research and for research integrity, honesty means truthfulness and being free of deceit. Honesty can be demonstrated by researchers in their full, accurate, and truthful account of what's happened in research, from the planning, conducting, to the reporting of their research findings, and to the conclusions that they've drawn. Researchers can demonstrate the principle of honesty in sharing data, supplying data to colleagues when they request it, providing data to publishers and institutions at the time of publication, and even increasingly now, sharing data openly through publishing the data produced in the research is a key way that researchers can demonstrate honesty. This sharing of data places a great emphasis on the trustworthy management of research data. We've found that managing data in research is challenging. It requires resources, expertise, and above all, researchers thinking about in meaningful ways how they're going to manage, store, and provide access to the data that they collect or produce. It's interesting, but a simple and meaningful data management plan produced by the researchers who will conduct the research appears to be useful. This would describe what the data will be, how they'll be stored, how access will be provided, and increasingly, how the researchers will share the data openly. Sharing information about research processes, methodologies, data and findings openly with others also demonstrates the research integrity principle of transparency. For trustworthy research, transparency means being open and sharing, and a willingness to be scrutinised by others, a key concept in academic life. There are now increasingly new ways for demonstrating the principle of transparency in practices. Transparency and honesty can be demonstrated by researchers before any observations or tests are undertaken, and also in the publications that they produce. The pre-registration or registration of research projects and methodologies before the research starts appears to be a good way to display this transparency. And there are new tools for different disciplines, including the Open Science Framework, that enable researchers to do this. Reporting guidelines produced for publications for various disciplines also allow researchers to demonstrate the principle of transparency. Reporting guidelines give instruction to researchers who are making publications so that they can give a clear account to the reader of their methodologies and plans and the data that they've produced. There are many reporting guidelines for disciplines in health sciences and other disciplines, and these can be found through the Equator Network. Fairness is another key principle of research integrity, and we see fairness being an important principle in the practices around authorship and acknowledgement. In research and for research integrity, fairness means the impartial and just treatment behaviour of others without favouritism or bias. Authorship of publications is around credit and accountability for individuals, and some see this as a key currency in research. There are many different guidelines and instructions and codes that describe responsible practice in authorship, but at its heart, trustworthy authorship is about people who have made significant intellectual or scholarly contributions to the research that's described in the publication, and their willingness to be accountable for that contribution. Discussing and planning authorship at the very beginning of research with other people appears to be an easy and simple step that researchers can take to plan for authorship. Who will be contributing? What will they contribute? How will we recognise these contributions? Of course, as research progresses, things can change, and that's the perfect time to go back to your authorship planning. Demonstrating principles such as honesty, transparency, fairness, accountability in research for research integrity can be challenging. For example, navigating discussions around significant contributions for authorship require mentoring and supervision. It seems obvious, but evidence suggests that really good supervision, really good mentoring by senior researchers to junior colleagues and their students is the number one thing that we can do to help researchers to meet the principles of research integrity. Training and educating researchers to become responsible, trustworthy, good mentors and supervisors is now seen as a key challenge for institutions. What does good, trustworthy supervision and mentorship look like? Mentorship and supervision provides training and guidance for others. Some people starting out in their research career and getting key elements of training. Good mentorship and supervision also adds to cultures of research and should be adding to the cultures of research integrity at institutions. So, as you become or are a mentor, you should be thinking about how much you're reflecting upon the principles of research integrity, such that research can be trustworthy and excellent. Well, I'd like to finish by being honest, transparent and fair with you and recognise my co-author, Dr. Paul Taylor from RMIT University, a key mentor of mine who gave me a deeper understanding of research integrity. I also wish you best of luck for your trustworthy and excellent research. Thank you.